All right, everybody, welcome back to G Funky Boxing of HCP. That's Hispanics Causing Panic. And I'm here to break down the big fight this weekend. Canelo Alvarez versus Caleb Smith. Good fight, man. I think it's a good fight for both guys. Canelo's coming off of a long layoff. Over a year now he's been out of the ring. And Smith is, he's in there with the best guy that he's ever been in there against. So, should be an interesting fight, man. I'm really looking forward to it. I know there's a lot of people that were disappointed. Of course, there's always going to be guys that you want to see Canelo fight. Canelo is the main guy right now, the money guy. So, of course, there's always going to be those things. But, I don't think it's a bad fight coming off of the long layoff. Um, Smith does have some advantages that he could utilize. And, you know, if he can do that, then, I think it's going to be a really good fight. So, let's talk about it, man. Let's break this thing down. So, I'm going to go over the records real quick. I'm going to go with the challenger, who is Canelo in this case. I know that might throw some of you guys off, but he is a challenger. He's 53-1 with 2 draws and 36 KOs. As for the champion Smith, who is 27-0 with 19 knockouts. Good record for both guys. Both guys, the tail of the tape now, both guys are 30. Canelo is 5'8", which is, pretty short for a super middleweight. He has a 70 and a half inch reach. As with Smith, now here's where the advantages come in. This is what I'm talking about now. Fanboys, plug your ears, man. You guys are going to like what you hear right here. But Smith does have some advantages, okay? Let's just, it is what it is, man. He's the same age as Canelo, 30. His height, he's 6'3", and he has a 78 inch reach. So he's got a big advantage when it comes to height and when it comes to reach, and if he could utilize those things in the right way, he could definitely, put up a good fight and even possibly win the fight. Who knows? Now, again, I'm gonna warn you, fanboys, right now. You guys, I'm looking right at you guys. Now is the time for you guys to turn it off because I'm gonna break down the fight. And the reason why I'm telling you to turn it off right now is because I go over the strengths and weaknesses of both fighters. Now, I know you guys say, oh, God, what do you mean? Well, what do you mean, man? Out of the steam's building up, it's coming out of your ears right now. Like, what do you mean Canelo has weaknesses? Yes, he does, okay? Let's just deal with it, all right? He's got weaknesses, and we're going to talk about it here, okay? That's what happens when you break down a fight, okay? Now they're going to be like, well, G-Funk, why do you got the Canelo shirt on? You must be a fanboy too, right? No. Look, here's the thing. I'm a man of my word. I lost a bet in Canelo's last fight. So I said anytime I talk about Canelo on my channel, I wear the Canelo shirt. Okay, I had to buy the shirt and I have to wear it. So, being a man of my word for that. But let's talk about Smith first. Okay, Smith, the good things I see with Smith are this, his jab. Obviously, his jab. He's got the long reach. So, that's his best punch in my opinion, is his jab. The way he uses it, is pretty good. It's very long, it's quick, and he does like to throw some good combinations off of that jab. I see him throw right hands, left hooks, uppercuts, things like that. But he also has a nice. I noticed especially when he fought that guy Ndam, I noticed when Ndam would come in and attack him, be real aggressive, he would come in at him. He would back up with the hands high, and then he would throw this little short left hook. I think he even dropped him with that. That's a punch I really like, and that's a punch I think he could land against Canelo in this fight. He does his footwork. Here's the thing, man, with people in footwork nowadays. They think because if you don't dance around the ring like Muhammad Ali, or if you're not spinning all around like Lomachenko or something like that you don't have good footwork, and that's ridiculous, man. Footwork is not all about movement. It's about balance, keeping one foot in front of the other, being fundamentally sound, being able to move back correctly, in and out, things like that. Smith has good fundamentals and good balance when it's with his footwork. I think there are some things that he can improve on, and I'm going to touch on that as we get into the bad of his style. But I do like his footwork. Power is okay. Power is decent, but I don't think it's anything for Canelo to worry about, in my opinion. if he lands something like I mentioned, when he backs up and he throws that little left hook, if he lands something like that while Canelo's coming in, could that stun him? I mean, yeah, it could, because if you get hit without expecting to get hit, it's gonna bother you. But Canelo's got a hell of a chin, man. So I don't really expect Smith to present any problems as far as his power goes to Canelo. Now here's some of the things that I don't like that Smith does. He doesn't use his height and reach the way that he should. And that was very obvious in his last fight against Ryder. Ryder was able to get on the inside and get this guy against the ropes pretty easily. And that's because of the things that he doesn't do with his feet. Like I said, he's got good balance, good fundamentals, one foot in front of the other, able to come in and back up pretty good and stay balanced, and those are good things. But at the same time, if you can't turn and twist or at least move off that line, guys like that, like Ryder, who was much shorter, who was almost like Canelo in a way. I think they're the same height, so he was able to push Smith back into the ropes a lot, and that's not good. That's not a good thing. The things that give Canelo a problem is movement. We're going to talk about that a little bit too. But Smith doesn't have that kind of movement for that. His guard, here's the thing with his guard, right? He does have an active guard, and he likes to do this thing where he paws, like here's the left hand, right? He does this a lot with his lead hand. He's looking at his opponent and he's just going like this. I don't like those sort of things when fighters do that, especially when you're going up against a guy who can counter punch you and has good timing like Canelo Alvarez does. That's just not what you want to do. Not only that, I noticed when he's doing this, he's bouncing back and forth on his feet. He goes to the front foot, back foot, front foot, back foot, front foot, back foot. Again, those are things that good counter punchers are going to pick up on. And I do believe Canelo's going to pick up on that as the fight goes on. That can be timed. And, his defense to me is a head movement. Doesn't really have a lot of head movement, upper body movement. He just likes to put the hands up and just kind of, do this. And again, he backs up. When Ryder was coming in, Ryder was able to throw like lead right hands and then throw shots to the body. He just backed up, to the ropes and just put the earmuffs on and just, took shots. That's really his defense right there. And, that's not the kind of defense you're going to want against a guy like Canelo. So now I'm going to break into Canelo, what I like about Canelo. Obviously, I believe he's got good power. I'm going to say it again. Good power. I don't think he has this devastating concussive power like his fanboys think, I'm telling you, I've been on YouTube 10 years. Every time I make a video about this guy, they're talking about, he's going to knock this guy out cold as soon as he hits him. And it never comes that way. It never happens that way. Especially not against anybody that's any good, that is, but he does have good power. I'm not saying he can't punch at all. Obviously, he can punch. He's got good power. He's a great counter puncher. I've already talked about that a little bit. I love how he's able to, slip, parry shots, and then counter off his opponent's attacks that way. His body punching is tremendous as well. Very good body puncher. His footwork, and again, talk about people's footwork. Now, again, Canelo doesn't have the fastest feet, but his footwork is good. Again, balance and things like that. Can he move around the ring a little bit? Yes. We see that against Triple G in the first fight. But that's not really a strength of his. But what I do like about Canelo, and I noticed this a lot especially against Kovalev, a guy who had, again, the height and the reach advantage on Canelo, was that he was able to get close to Kovalev with just, his footwork. He didn't really come in with the jab like some pressure fighters do. They use the jab to come in and get close to you and things like that. He uses his footwork very sneaky to get close to you, and then he slips your punches, parries them with his gloves, and then he comes over. Very good footwork from Canelo's defense is very good, top notch. The upper body movement, and like I already mentioned, the parrying of shots with the gloves, countering from there. He did that a lot against Kovalev because Kovalev, even though he threw a lot of punches at Canelo, and that's kind of typical of Kovalev. Kovalev throws these little throwaway shots, and he tries to land one hard after, a couple of light shots would come in and boom and land something hard behind those soft punches. He was able to, just basically come forward and do a lot of this and then counter and things like that. He's very good at that. Some of the things that I don't like about Canelo, again, fanboys, if you're still here, cover the ears, man. You're not going to like this. But I still think that Canelo has issues fighting a hard 12 rounds. If somebody can push this guy to fight 3 minutes of every round, I believe that will give him trouble. I think he still takes rounds off, even, big gaps in rounds he takes off. He did that a lot against Kovalev. And here's another thing. Even though I mentioned how good his defense is with his head movement and the parrying of shots, the one punch that I noticed lately in the past couple of years that have consistently gave him some trouble and guys were able to land on him was the jab, and that's Smith's best punch. Kovalev was able to land a lot of good jabs on Canelo. Triple G, again, guys, oh God, I don't like what I'm hearing here. But Triple G landed a lot of hard, good jabs on Canelo in the first fight and the second fight. So the jab is something that does give him trouble. Okay, let's not cover our eyes anytime Canelo gets hit. Those punches do get in, and the jab is one of them. Which is why I think this could be an interesting fight for Canelo, because this guy's best punch is his jab. So here's what I think is going to happen here, man, and here's my prediction in the fight. I broke down both guys, what I think is good, what I think is bad. So here's my prediction. Okay, I'm going to pick Canelo Alvarez to win this thing by a 10-round KO. Okay, and here's why. Smith, to me, although he does have some physical advantages and things like that, I don't think he presents enough problems stylistically to beat Canelo. Like I said, he's very lineal. He's in and out, straight in the line. He doesn't use pivots. He doesn't use angles. He doesn't move around the ring. Like a guy like Erislandy Lara, who gave him trouble. Amir Khan gave him some trouble with the footwork. Floyd Mayweather, Austin Trout. These are all very competitive fights for Canelo, and it was because these guys can move around the ring that way. Smith doesn't do that. But here's the thing. Again, going back to that jab, if he can have, if it could be the night of the jab for Smith, if he could make that jab work for him all night long, that could give, he could have a hell of a fight. It could be interesting, man, because we all know that the jab is the most important punch in boxing, and if you could get that thing off the way you want to, it sets everything else up. You could hook off of it, you could throw right hands, you could uppercut, things like that. That's got to be his priority, is to make sure that jab lands on Canelo and make sure that he puts something behind it when he does try to land it. But I don't know, man. I just think that some of the things that I see with Canelo is, again, that kind of pawing thing that he does with his guard when he's right here and the rocking back and forth. I see Canelo countering those things. I see him dipping low, ripping body shots underneath that active guard, right? Or either coming over the top with a right hand over that active guard, hooking, and those are things that Canelo does very, very well. This, man, I'm telling you, this is not going to work for Smith. He's going to have to find a way to disguise that jab much better. Haven't seen him really do that in any of his fights yet. This will be the fight right here, which you want to do that. You want to switch it up. You have to, or you're going to be getting countered with shots by doing that. Even sometimes with his jab, when he's throwing his jab out there, I noticed guys like Ndam, he slipped to the side and bam, he hit him with a left hook to the body. I know he knocked that dude out quickly in like 3 rounds or something like that. But again, those are things that Canelo does great. If Ndam, who's a decent fighter, a guy who does that great like Canelo, it's going to be trouble for him. I do see Smith landing some shots, again, because that jab is his best punch. I do think the jab's going to land. I do think he'd be able to do some things off of that jab. But another thing that I also see that is going to give Smith a lot of trouble is this high guard thing. Like Canelo is just going to rip this guy, man, when he pushes him back to the ropes. Like I said, body shots. And again, we've seen it with Kovalev. When Kovalev was just doing this most of the time in that fight against Canelo. When the knockout came, what did he do? He set it up with that famous hook that Canelo lands, where he lands a left hook all night on you, and then when you think he's going to come downstairs with that left hook, he does this thing where he shoots his right hand out, then he dips low with the left, makes you think that he's going to come to the body, so then you shell up, which is what Kovalev did, and then bam, he brought it up around the guard of Kovalev. I see him landing hooks around the guard of Smith, and I think that's going to be some trouble for him, man. I really do. If he could take Canelo's punches, again, his chin's untested to me. So he's able to take Canelo's punches and able to fight him back because he can fight on the inside a little bit, Smith. He allows himself to get in the inside with some of these smaller guys, but he is able to land good shots in there. So if he's able to take these punches from Canelo and fire it back, it could be an interesting fight. I don't see him winning on points at all, Smith. I mean, that's a tall task for any fighter. I mean, look, Mayweather, Canelo got a draw against Mayweather when he lost every round, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinions. I felt Erislandy Lara beat him at least 8 rounds in that fight, and he didn't get a decision. So getting a decision is a tall task against this guy, and I don't think that Smith has enough power to hurt him or knock him out. So, I think Canelo does have the power to hurt this guy because, again, he's untested. So I'm taking Canelo Alvarez here by a 10-round stoppage. That's just the way that I see it. Let me know what you guys think. Again, if you're fanboys and you just come in just to talk shit, your comments are going to be deleted. I don't play games anymore. Okay, if you want to come debate me, you could always email me, gfunky84boxing. You can come on uncensored every Wednesday on my channel, and we could talk about it like men. Okay, let's not hide in the comment section and just type away all day. All right, we could talk about it like men. Shout out to the HCP Canelo Cartel. We'll be doing a show with those guys this week, and shout out to HCP, the familia out there. Let's keep working, guys. But that's my prediction here. Let me know what you guys think. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell because, like I said, I go live at least once a week here on Uncensored. So that's your guys' chance to come on and talk to me about anything that you want. So I'm G Funky Boxing. That was my prediction, and I'm out. You guys have a good day and enjoy the fights.